Greetings and welcome to the ROI Clear podcast. My name is Ray Hightower, and today we are fortunate to have as our guest Mr. Evan Robinson. Evan is the founder or co-founder and CEO of Relm. Relm is your personalized AI home search, and we look forward to exploring what that means with Evan Robinson. So, without any further delay, please join me in welcoming our guest, Mr. Evan Robinson. Welcome, Evan.
Ray, thank you for having me. I'm excited to jump through and talk all about Realm and real estate.
Let's do that. Well, let's kick it off by giving you a chance to talk a little bit about Realm right now. We like to start our interviews with an elevator pitch. And for those who are new to the ROI Clear podcast, Evan Robinson is on an elevator with someone he wants to influence. So, Evan, what would you say to that person in the course of an elevator ride?
Yeah, I mean, look, home, it's so first principles. It's where you start your day, where you decide to build your community around. And right now, to be able to find a home, it's extremely complex and expensive, right? So Realm, we've built an AI home search that allows you to, in natural language, customize your queries to find exactly what you want based off your lifestyle, who you are, what you need, and where you want to go with your life.
Wonderful. Natural language queries to find a place to
Mhm.
live and where you want to go with your life. So excellent. Excellent. You're in beta right now, if I'm reading correctly. Tell us about it. What's it like to run a beta product? You're going through testing in New Jersey. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we're rolled out in New Jersey. We're going to be rolling out in New York soon. It's actually been a very interesting experience because we rolled out this platform where essentially it's just a chat bot or a chat box, and you can type in anything you want. Hey, I'm Evan Robinson. Not that I do, but I have two kids and a wife. I like hiking. I need in my house marble countertops. I need oak wood floors. And I work maybe in Midtown or something like that. So I need a commuting distance to that. And basically, you just hit search and it'll find you all the homes that you want. You can refine, you can ask questions about the home. And, it's a very new concept, particularly to people not in the tech industry, not working with, the GPTs or have ever worked with an open AI product. So we were
Mhm.
very open to see how the response was going to be, to see how the community was going to react to such a platform. And we're grateful that we've had such an overwhelming response. We've had thousands of people sign up for the platform, using it, asking all sorts of complex questions and queries, and really narrowing down to what they want in their life. And overall, it's been very humbling. I'm very excited to keep pushing it forward, keep pushing the limits of AI, especially AI in the built environment. I think there's a lot of exciting things to come there.
Yeah, certainly. We're hearing a lot more about AI than we did years ago. Certainly in the 1950s, there was a lot of noise about AI, but the hardware and the software were not sufficient to really bring that to the masses. But now it's here and it's become democratized and it's available to a lot of people. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration? When did you wake up and say, I want to combine real estate with AI? What was that? What was the trigger for that?
Yeah, so I should probably dive a little bit, take a step back and dive a little bit into my background because it really influenced, how we got to what we're doing. I actually got
Sure.
not in a traditional business sense. I got my start working in politics,
Hmm.
and I worked at Los Angeles City Hall. I helped on the zoning committee there. That's where I was first introduced to real estate, and then I went on to go work in a campaign out in New Jersey, actually. And it
Hmm.
was cold calling a lot of the constituents and talking to them about what issues they're seeing. What do they care about? What gives them anxiety? What do they worry about? And a lot of it always comes down to what you exactly expect, which is, their income, but as well as housing. Am I ever going to be able to afford a house, buy a house? What happens if I sell my home? Am I going to be able to rent? Rent's a big one these days. So,
Hmm.
I really took that inspiration. I was like, okay, well, there's something here. Business, or government is really like a big hammer, right? And you can't really get down to the individual specific niches of people's problems. So I was like, okay, well, let me explore the business world. And I jumped out and I joined a great consultancy called MediaLink. And I learned
Hmm.
all about the startup world. I learned how these different, companies are building in niche spaces. And I was like, okay, I could take the issues that I know exist in the community and start building technology into it. We happened to stumble into AI later, but we started
Hmm.
as a problem oriented company, before applying the solution. Now, it just so happens that AI and all the innovations around the large language models allow that human touch that is so required for somebody looking where they want to set up and basically put a post in the ground and say, this is where I want to build my community. So that's how we got to where we were going.
Sure. So, background in politics, started off at City Hall in LA, eventually moved to New Jersey to work on a campaign. You were cold calling constituents, learning more about their needs and their headaches and their wants and all of these things. One of those fundamental needs was a place. They needed a home, needed a place to live, like all of us need. What's it? Food, clothing, and shelter. So you
Right.
want to address that need, and your product, what you're doing with Relm, you're not only addressing home buyers, but you're looking at people who want to rent a place to live. While you were at MediaLink, you took a position at MediaLink after leaving politics. You took a position at MediaLink, and while there, you learned about the startup world. MediaLink is a SaaS company, software as a service company.
It's a consultancy. So we sat across basically all these different types of tech startups and tech-oriented companies, particularly in the position that I sat, which was in the growth strategy area.
Yes,
So I basically helped find other revenue streams, other tech innovations, and things that they can go into with their current consumer base.
yes.
So that's how I got introduced to the really the problem solution oriented thinking.
Solid. So there you learned how to uncover problems and uncover pain and hopefully address the problems and address the pain.
Exactly. I think it's one of the most fundamental things to just for anyone going into any business, right? Even if it's investing in a multifamily all the way down to starting a tech company, it's like, okay, what does this subset of the community need? And how do I build for them? And if you do that, you're going to have a really solid core base of users, renters, whatever, that love what you're doing and want to stay a part of your journey.
Wonderful. One of my favorite entrepreneurs, he lived to be 104 years old. A.G. Gaston used to say, "Find a need and fulfill it. Successful businesses are built on the needs of people." And you've lived that. You've
Yeah,
absolutely
absolutely.
lived that. Okay. So, can you tell us about early iterations of the product? Did you immediately know, hey, we're going to do AI, we're going to do LLMs, and boom, here's our product right here? Or did you go through some iterations? What were some early versions?
Yeah, I mean, we're always iterating, right? We're
Yes.
iterating right now. The teams in the other room iterating. So,
Yes.
I mean, we started off largely with, okay, how can vision AI, computer vision, intersect in consumer tech as it's oriented in the built environment? And we came
Mm-hmm.
up with some valuation platforms. We had the initial thought of, okay, can we help out on the sell side, right, and help these guys value their homes and maybe get it off bigger? Then we realized, okay, well, that's a big uphill climb, and we can directly solve the problem
Mm-hmm.
even more, which is basically getting housing moving and people in the homes by going on the actual buyer side of it and building a really, really great search platform for them that not only takes into account their lifestyle, but you can type in there, hey, I need a home. My salary is $70,000. I need a home that fits me, right? Or I need to
Mm-hmm.
rent a place that fits me and be able to
Sure.
exactly pull in all those properties, right? Housing crisis is a big thing, and there's a lot of things that go into it, from inventory down to how the transaction is done. And I'll give you a hint and a wink and a nod that we are thinking about how the transaction is being done. But as
Okay.
of today, the best thing that we can do is let's put you in the right area, the right spot with the right people.
Right. Right area, right spot, right people. And you early on decided to work on the buy side as opposed to the sell side.
Yes, exactly. The sell side, there's a lot of intricacies around that
Mm-hmm.
that we do want to tackle at some point. However, in tech, some of the biggest things that we focus on is how do we make the biggest impact quickly? And the
Mm-hmm.
biggest impact right now and the biggest problems need to be solved on the buyer side,
You see
particularly around
greater
cost.
pain on the buyer side.
Yeah.
Greater pain on the buyer side, that's where you can solve problems. And that's interesting. That kind of fits because from what I know of real estate brokers, they prefer to work on the sell side. The whole idea is that they want to control the property. So you're not competing against them. I don't think you can tell me, but it doesn't look like you're competing against the brokers. You're actually creating a tool that they may find helpful. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. There's a lot of movement with the brokerage industries, particularly following the NAR lawsuits and some of the brokerage lawsuits that have come out. However, regardless of what those outcomes are, I do believe that real estate in itself, it's like selling a piece of art, right? You need somebody there that really understands that property in the given context of where it exists. Now, if
Right.
we can cut out all of the pieces that the broker and the basically the people, the consumer, the end user of the property, if you will, I think in that terms, but the
Yeah.
renters or the buyers, if you can cut out all the extra work that none of them wants to deal with and just leave
Hmm.
the human connection at the end, I think everybody benefits from that situation.
Right. Okay. And so your underlying technology, you mentioned LLMs, you mentioned GPTs. Are you using one of the well-known engines? Are you using like Grok or Chat GPT or Gemini or one of those, or what can you tell us about that? But don't tell
Yeah.
us anything where you'd have to kill us. We know you won't do that. But
Yeah,
yeah.
you'll catch my CTO with on the roof
Yeah, yes.
scope the whole thing. But no, it's we're right now we have this really great, LLM vision model that pre-processes all of the listings. And that's
Hmm.
we're able to understand, hey, this is the type of crown molding on the ceiling. This is the
Hmm.
type of floor you have. This is the condition of the home. Here's a list of renovations that you're going to need to do if you move into this property. So we've really innovated on actually being able to look at the image of the listing rather than just some blanket description. And that's where I see the future of real estate going across the board outside of home search. But it's so important if you're going to build a great home search platform, it needs to go beyond just words. It needs to go into exactly what that individual unique property is and what work needs to go into it or lack of work that needs to go into it.
Right, right. So wait, when you say you're looking at the image of the listing, are you pulling data from the photos themselves and looking at the crown molding and looking at what that is how you're gathering your data. So you don't need a human going around and looking at, we need new drywall here and these doors are not ADA compliant and let's the flow of the shower. Looking at images the realtor has taken when they walk the property.
Absolutely. And it's exactly that. And it gets down to even the level of detail. If you can go into the platform right now, type in, what I said before. I need this style of home. I need these requirements. And you click into an individual property and you say,
Yes.
you know what? I'm looking at this house. I feel like it needs some level of renovations or something with that. What is, well, hey, what renovations need to happen and what are the pricing around that? We'll get down
Yes.
to, what, the grass looks dead and you're probably gonna need some landscaping and the
Mm,
there's water damage on the walls and the appliances are decades out of decades behind. So these are the things you need
yes.
to do. These are the estimated prices around that. We can get down to that
Right.
level of detail because we look at all of the images and what's in them, not just, like I said, if you go to any listing, it's just basically what description text, and then you're there scanning and
Yeah.
really understanding what's going on. And that
And
actually,
it's always quaint and cozy and all of that stuff.
yeah,
Useless words. Yeah. All right. Got it.
and it's great we've really seen a great cohort of consumers into the platform looking to buy or rent. But we've also
Mm-hmm.
had a sub community that have come in from more of the professional side saying, hey,
Mm-hmm.
find me a home, $500,000 under 50K renovations, make sure it's like a distressed class, right? Or something like that. And
Yeah.
we've seen those searches come through. So it's a very, yeah, we're marketing one way to, the renters and buyers, and we're
Yeah.
solving their problems. But people can use the platform however they want. And we
Correct.
can, because we're not limited by some filter box or definition of what it needs to be. It's AI. You can go in and customize it to your use case.
You're not limited. It's AI. Oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful. All right.
Excellent.
Who would you say is your ideal client or customer?
Yeah. So in the early days, we've actually defined it. We named him Austin. And
Austin. Okay.
Austin, there we go. Yeah. And Austin is, a young guy either renting or buying a home in or near metropolitan areas, right? Either
Mm-hmm.
like if you want to use New York City as an example, in New York City or just outside of it in one of the boroughs or supporting communities uh,
Mm-hmm.
that are a little bit more tech savvy that understand it. That's our first customer profile. Now,
Yes.
now immediately we want to expand outside of that, right, to continue the growth of the company and all of that. And I believe once we, capture that audience, we understand, we prove out the tech, we have the opportunity to then pull in people that aren't as familiar with technology and the chat
Mhm.
AI and all that stuff, such as maybe older demographics that are going to be experiencing this for the first time that haven't worked with the open AI platforms before.
Wow. You have so much potential to grow this too. This is exciting. Like you're in an area where, I mean, you could add, you said you're starting off with AI, LLMs, GPT, and as humans build better interfaces to sit on top of those, now we're playing with verbal interfaces and keyboard interfaces and all that, but you and your team might come up with better interfaces for that, and the
Mhm.
interaction can be more like speaking with another person.
And even beyond, the design of the platform itself, I think we're really pushing the limit. We're not just some, a lot of companies come out and they're GPT wrappers and they're kind of, I hate to say it, a lot of them are BS, and you're going to see that pop in the AI bubble. We didn't
Yeah.
build the platform that way. We built the platform in a way that pushes the limit of AI. We're working on fine tuning our own models. We're building out our own stuff. And that allows us to get very industry and vertical specific,
Mm,
which is where I believe the future of technology is going to be going anyways. It's
yeah.
you're right now you see these general broad models. It's going to be the people that are on the cutting edge that understand their industry really well, like our industry, real estate, and building something that solves exactly the problems in the industry. And that's where I believe the future of all this is going and what we're on the cutting edge of. And hopefully, in the next couple of years, the company you think of when you think of AI in real estate.
Right. You don't want to build something that's just general and, trying to be all things to all people. You want to attack a specific niche. I get it. Okay. I get it. What are some obstacles? And, every entrepreneur faces obstacles, right? That's why we're entrepreneurs, because we enjoy vanquishing obstacles. What are some obstacles that you have faced so far? And can you tell us some stories about how you've defeated some of those?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with two. That's okay with you. One
Okay.
internal,
That's
one
cool.
external.
That's cool.
So the first internal one, which I think will resonate a lot with the real estate professionals in the industry, is there's a big vacuum or lack of data for good that's really solid in real estate. And a lot of the times it's missing within the data sets that you're getting, whether you're getting it through providers or you're scraping it yourself, you're pulling it together. And we
Hmm.
face that issue pretty much head on, right? That's the core of our business, is understanding the data and being able to relay that out. And I have a funny story that one of the advisors on the business for his company, which is in construction tech, managing data for that, he was still sending interns 4 years ago up to Albany to scan documents into his database. So
Oh.
it's really behind. Now, where we really innovated on the edges to get around this issue is that data pre-processing or building those listings by looking
Hmm.
at the images themselves. The images don't lie on the data, right? And we
Right.
we can understand by looking through the home, how many bedrooms is the house? Did they add something on that wasn't permitted? What's the condition of the home in reality, not some fluffy, marketing piece?
Right.
What are all the different pieces? So we were able to fix, our data problem by thinking outside the box and looking at the images themselves. On the
Hmm.
other side of it, now from a more external perspective of what challenges with any innovation, particularly in real estate, it's the adoption aspect of any tech, right? Real estate is significantly behind any other industry when it comes to tech
Mm.
adoption
Hmm.
from a professional perspective. Now, we placed ourselves in a very unique situation where we don't have to change the ways of operating with the existing real estate professionals, because we're innovating for the consumer and we're letting
Hmm.
our consumers pull in the real estate professionals. Now, to back up on what I mean by that is we're rolling out in the next couple of weeks the ability for our users to actually reach out and manage all agent conversations within the platform. And that will allow us not to have to build out some
Mm.
crazy sales team that goes door to door to all the agencies and say, please use our AI. No, we want to give them immense value and get them the leads and allow them to do the listings and all that stuff. but we don't want that. We want it to come from them, not us selling them on it. And I think that's how that's going to be the new pathway into actually tackling this industry, which has been historically behind. It's
Hmm.
you got to get them where they are in the given moment, and where they are is still over email, text message, etc. And if you don't have to change their ways of working for a while, get them used to the concept first.
Cool. You're creating a marketplace where the buyer is in control.
That's exactly it. And I believe that's the direction that, I'm going to use the word real estate 3.0. Real estate 3.0 is going to be the future. And that's
Mm,
what's going to stem after you see all these lawsuits and all this stuff. It's going to be a more transparent, open, tech adopted real estate market across the board. It's starting with Realm, but it's going to expand out to other categories as well.
got it. Tell us about the data sources if you can. Like, yeah, I know you don't have interns going up to Albany to scan documents, right? Are you tapped into MLS systems or some of the popular sources for real estate data? Where's the data coming from?
Yeah, so without going too in depth on that particular part of it, we for the early days, we work with a couple of data providers. We have a waterfall of data providers to get everything that we need, particularly
Mhm.
and most importantly, the images uh, uh,
Yeah.
of it. Now, we wanted to work outside of the MLS as much as we could
Hmm.
to ensure that we keep it a transparent, open market for the consumer. The
Hmm.
MLS is historically a real estate professional platform, and we
Sure.
want to ensure that everything is consumer focused. So we
Hmm.
we are focused on that. Now, where we're going to be getting data in the future is similar to other, listing platforms. It's actually taking in those images, processing those images, and just generating the listings for the brokers themselves. Because there's no
Hmm.
difference between if we're going to be scanning images for all the listings out there so we can have our search, we should be able to do it for the real estate professionals as well. So those are really the two data sources that we're getting.
Oh, so you're looking at a product or at least a piece of your product that would be tailored towards real estate professionals too.
Yeah, when we roll that out where they're able to start messaging, we'll allow for the agents to actually list into the platform to build that new market.
Right. Okay. That works. So you are servicing the buyers by making it easier for them. You'll improve the interface for them. Right now, they can interact with your product the same way they would with GPT or any other LLM. And then you'll also have something that allows brokers to upload their information there. So essentially, they'll have two paths that they take. They'll upload their listing info to the MLS and then to Realm, and there we
So
go.
even more simple than that, if it's uploaded on any platform or on the internet anywhere, they'll just automatically get pulled in under your name. Only if you have a new
Oh,
listing that you need to upload that's not listed anywhere else, you can just upload the images and go. But other than that, we want to reduce the level of work, not add new things that they have to do, right? If they have to
yeah,
go to
sure.
Realm and then they go to Street Easy and then they go to leasebreak.com and they're uploading in 7 different spots, it's like, that's a headache. They should,
Okay.
if it's out there, we can get it
Sure. APIs will let you go anywhere. So if it's already digitized, yeah, boom, there you go. You
easy.
know what? Here's more of a business oriented question for you. There are those who believe that most people will be renting rather than buying in the future. The trend is to be renters. Like right now for my music, and I don't know if you do this, I don't buy music anymore. I use Spotify, and it's wonderful. I can get everything I want via Spotify. And do you see a future where we essentially Spotify our living arrangements and nobody buys a house anymore? Or is that just crazy?
So I'm going to tie it back to a question that you asked around
Mhm.
iterations. One of the
Yes.
most recent things that we realized in rolling out in New Jersey was the
Hmm.
demand for rentals. And we saw that through not just obviously we go out and we talk to as many of our users as we can, but actually, doing the analytics and understanding what is being searched and
Hmm.
realizing, hey, people really, really need rentals right now. That's what's hot in the market. That's where everything is going, right? We know what's going on with let alone from just the consumer trend that direction. We see it with the private equity firms buying up a lot of properties and homes and turning them into rentals. We see the new
Sure.
complexes being built. I believe last time I looked at the data, the average new multifamily unit is 100 units, right? And while before, in the national stage outside of that, the average total right now is like 24 units. So we're seeing
Mm,
bigger demand to get more units out there and fill that inventory. So,
yeah.
so I do believe that's going to be the direction that, at least while we're in the flirtation with a down economy, that's the direction people are going to be going.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen data that says that for new families starting off, it's much cheaper to rent right now than it is to buy. So that's interesting. It's interesting. Perhaps these are trends. It's not maybe not necessarily a trend, but maybe it's a sine wave or something, whereas there's some oscillation. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think in the from a taking from my perspective in the tech world, you see some really great companies coming out like Built Rewards that are allowing renters to build credit based off of their rental payments and
Mm,
through paying like kind of like a credit card system there. And so I think at the end of the day, most people want to fulfill the American dream of owning the home with the white picket fence and the whole thing. However,
sure.
given the current economic realities, there is going to be a pathway to bridge where people are today to getting them back on path to actually home ownership. And I think that you're going to see a lot of innovations at Realm plus other companies coming out that are going to be
Hmm.
trying to bridge that gap where there's helping the renters basically get to be buyers.
You just gave us a hint as to your business plan and your product map and future things you're thinking about. So we're going to have all kinds of reasons to have you back here. I could ask you questions for a long time, Evan. This is a fascinating area, a fascinating vertical market that you're attacking here in a good way, and you're serving a lot of people. So this is exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing your product when it comes out of beta. What's the timeline for that? When do you expect to release this beyond beta?
Yeah, so we're rolling out in New York City in October with rentals in the platform and the
Mm,
ability to message and manage all your agent conversations in the platform. We're also
yes.
rolling out as a very exciting an iOS app, so you'll be able to download that as well. And then next year, it's going to be bold to say, but I might as well say it public, so we have to do it. We want to be in at least 75% of the US by the end of next year, which is a big goal. So we're moving as quickly as we can. And I know Jackson, my co-founder here, who's listening, just shuddered when I said that. But
Yeah.
big, we're building a big thing. We might as well blow it up as quickly as we can. It's very
Very cool.
important and very very impactful.
Well, what's the sense of having a co-founder if you can't make them shudder every once in a while, right? So there you go. So you're in Jersey now in beta. Your next step is to be in Manhattan, just Manhattan or the entire state of New York?
New York Metropolitan, and then we'll be expanding out to New York State very shortly after.
Okay, New York Metropolitan. So that would
Perfect.
be the five boroughs of New York. Yep.
Five
And
boroughs
then
plus Long Island.
plus Long Island. Okay, got it. All right. And then expanding, and then next 75% of US states next year. There we go. I love it. What do they say? Make no small plans, make bold plans. I think there was an
Exactly.
architect in Chicago who said that. I'm not remembering his name right now, but an architect in Chicago said something along those lines. We're coming towards the end of our time together. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying asking you questions and hearing from you what you're doing and what you plan to do. That's all exciting. And clearly you're a very well-read man. What are you reading or what are you listening to that you would recommend to our audience?
That's a great question. So I've been into the podcasts lately.
Yes.
I believe outside of obviously reading, you should be reading the Real Deal and all the real estate publications to keep up with the industry. But if you want
Yes.
the best insight on the cutting edge of tech, I recommend listening to the Lex Friedman podcast. He's always interviewing
Mm.
the top of that field. And one less known one for people outside of tech, which is Hacker News by Y Combinator. It's a little
Hmm.
bit more of a old school brute force looking website, but you're going to see people posting and talking about the projects that they're working on in not just AI, but across the board. And it's a really good way to keep up with the tech industry.
Yeah, cool. Lex Friedman is so smart. He's
Oh
right
my
there at AI and business and jujitsu, and he
God.
interviews everybody, doesn't he?
Oh my God. And he's got a good breadth of topics that he covers with a very technical perspective. So it's very unique to see how his brain works.
Yeah, yeah. And he's not bouncing off of walls. He has a very, very low-key cadence and all of that. So yeah, wonderful, wonderful there. And then Hacker News, my goodness, plain sight, design notes taken from Craigslist or something like that, but very
Yeah.
cool info. Very, very solid info. So thank you so much for those recommendations. Finally, Evan Robinson, how can people get in touch with you and your team over there at Realm?
Yeah, so I recommend checking us out at Relm.ai.
Hmm.
And my social media is it's Evan Robinson, and that's across the board for everything. So feel free to reach out to me, DM me if you have any questions.
Wonderful. Evan Robinson, it has been a pleasure having you here on the ROI Clear podcast. It's great hearing from you. Congratulations on launching your beta. Much success to you as you expand to the New York metropolitan area and the state of New York, and ultimately 75% of U.S. states next year in 2025. So
You better hold
great
me to that,
having you
Ray.
here, man. Great having you here.
Ray, thank you. Appreciate it.
And thank you for engaging the ROI Clear podcast. At ROI Clear, we buy multifamily apartment properties, we improve them, and we give people a great place to live. At the same time, we give investors an opportunity to enjoy capital preservation, tax advantages, and a solid return on investment. If you'd like to know more, click the link to roiclear.com down below. We look forward to speaking with you.